Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. How are you guys doing today? I am so excited to do this video. So, I wasn't really sure which video to do first over here. This is my first BookTube video of 2021. I have some very exciting announcements for 2021 as far as BookTube. But I wasn't sure which video to do over here. If I should do my December wrap-up, which is what this video is, or if I should do my top 10 books of 2020. And I want to sit down and really go through it and put it together. So I'm going to do that probably, that will be my next video. If I don't do like a book vlog in between there. That will be my next video. It'll be coming up in the next couple days. So anyway, a couple things I want to announce. If you didn't watch my last video, I hit my goal of 100 books for the year 2020. I was so excited. I could not believe it. It was like down to the wire, and I actually finished, I think it was like a whole day ahead. I had like an entire day that I could have like read my 101st book. But I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to wait and till 2021 and have my first book. I've actually already read 2 books this year. I've read the 11th and 12th book from the Misfortune series by Jana DeLeon. And I am on book 13 right now, which is called Swamp something, Spooks or something like that, I think it's called. It's the Halloween book, and I'm really excited. I've been waiting like 13 books to get to this point. So, but I'm kind of sad because I'm getting to the end of the series, and I'm, then I will have been caught up until she puts out her new book. I have to say that probably one of the greatest things that happened to me in 2020 as far as reading was my introduction to cozy mysteries. And I know that sounds kind of corny or kind of cheesy, but it was a genre that I really wasn't aware of. And I have literally fallen in love with some amazing characters in 2020. So I've decided that I'm going to do, for my top 10, I'm going to do my top 10 standalones, and I'm going to do like my top series as well, because I got started on several series in 2020, and I'm really excited about it. I have kind of become a series lover at this point, which I never thought would happen. So anyway, I was in November, and it was towards the end of November, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to meet this goal. And I didn't want to like just read 10 or 15 super short books. At the end of December, I did read some shorter books, but they were all books that I would have read anyway, if I had been introduced to them, no matter how short they were. And what was really interesting that happened was I was kind of gravitating towards some of my shorter books the last 2 weeks of 2020 to get to my goal of 100. And I ended up reading some books that were absolutely fantastic. Dear Martin by Nick Stone just blew me away. And it's a rather short book. I think it's like 260 pages or something like that. And then The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho just blew me away. And there were several books that I read that I would never have read, I think. Well, at least maybe not right now I wouldn't have read. Except for that they were shorter, and so I had bought them, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna, listen to these books and read them. So anyway, let's get into this. You guys are gonna be blown away. I read 27 books in the month of December. How many books did you read? 27. I cannot believe that I read 27 books. And a lot of these books were graphic novels, but they were longer graphic novels. One of the greatest things that happened happened in December of 2020 was that I was introduced and fell in love with Alice Oseman. And she is now, hands down, one of my favorite authors of life. I just cannot with Alice Oseman. I mean, she has changed me. Her stories have changed me. The characters have changed me. And I just am so excited to continue to read books by Alice Oseman. So let's get into this. I'm going to go back. Now I've kind of talked about all of these in my book vlogs, so I'm just going to give kind of a quick synopsis, because for me to even give 3 to 4 minutes is like an hour video, right? I don't know. I am not very good at math. You do the math. Okay. So the first book of December that I read was Heartstopper, Volume 2 by Alice Oseman. I had bought the first one off of Amazon. It was part of her graphic novel, her graphic novel series, and I read it, and I absolutely loved it. And so I ordered the second and the third one, and I don't think the fourth one is out yet. So I think the fourth one is coming in 2021. The next book that I read was Freedom, My Book of Firsts. So we read J.C. Duggard for her first book, which was called, well, it wasn't called Freedom. It was called, I can't remember what it was called, honestly. I read it just before that. It was called A Stolen Life. So if you don't know, J.C. Duggard was kidnapped and held for 18 years, and that was our true crime book for the month of, for the month of November. So I read The Stolen Life, or A Stolen Life, which was the extra credit book. It's her second book, and I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. I mean, it wasn't the greatest written book in the entire world, but it was very interesting. And I don't know, it was very empowering to read, too, to hear her story. Then the next book that I read was Mistletoe Murder, a Lucy Stone mystery, and I read the first, it was the book 1. I actually, it's so funny, because this was a book about, I gotta make sure that I remember these books correctly. I think this is the one where she works as a, she works in this company where, she's, online. Okay, she works at a mail order company. Yeah, this is it. You guys, this is a book that actually has really stuck with me. I keep on thinking of her. I don't know why, her house and stuff like that. So anyway, I read so many cozy mysteries. The characters are, it's always kind of the same story, okay? And actually, this story was kind of different because she was married and had kids and stuff like that. But most cozy mysteries are they go through a horrible breakup. They, for some reason, have to leave town, and then they end up in this small town that is, the greatest town in the entire world, and there's kind of, mysteries or witchy-poo stuff that's going on. And there's always animals. They always have a pet, and, they love to bake, and they love to cook, and that's kind of, the consistencies between cozy mysteries. I love them so much. But anyway, that one was really good, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. Then I read Later Gator, book 9 in the Misfortune series. Then we finished The Magic. This was my book that I read on my Peterisms channel. It's 28 Days of Gratitude by Rhonda Byrne. It was The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. The book profoundly changed me. I have done it before, but I did it again this time. And it was doing written gratitude lists every single day and activities that were based around gratitude. If you're looking for inspirational, I don't love the word self-help. If you're looking for an inspirational book to start the year off, I would, and you can start it whenever, I would definitely recommend The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. It's all these fun activities. It makes you really look at relationships in your life and the money that you have or have been given in your life or that you've used to pay bills or whatever, and your health. It made me really look at my health in a completely different way. And just life in general, as a gift, as a true gift. And I loved it so much. So the next book I read, was Solitaire by Alice Oseman. And Solitaire is where Nick and Charlie are introduced, who are part of the Heartstopper. They're the Heartstopper graphic novels. But Solitaire is about Charlie's sister, right? Hold on a second. I'm almost positive. Why can't I think of some of these books? Yes, okay, so Tori, it's about Tori, who is, I was actually going to read Radio Silence first, but I read Radio Silence second, which is the order that they go in, which I'm really glad I did it that way, because Radio Silence picks up right where Solitaire left off. So, Solitaire is, it's kind of like a mystery, too, because there's this whole background thing going on with this website called Solitaire, and you don't really know what it is or who it is. And so Tori, who is Charlie's sister, and one of the things I love about Alice Oseman is that all of her characters kind of overlap and interweave between the different stories because they all are kind of from the same town. She can develop a character like nobody's business, and I love character-driven books. So, but anyway, Solitaire was fantastic. I know I gave it 5 stars. I would be floored if I looked and I didn't give it 5 stars. I gave it 5 stars. And then I read Nick and Charlie and this winter, and those were short books that were spinoffs of Solitaire, and they were about, well, Nick and Charlie was mostly just about Nick and Charlie, but then this winter was about, I think it was told from Tori's point of view, and it was about Christmas and things like that, and it was just more of the Alice Oseman universe, or whatever you would call that. Then I read Radio Silence, which was very sad. I will say the one thing about Alice Oseman is she addresses really serious issues. She talks about mental health issues a lot. Just trigger warning if you're going to read her. But she does it in such a healthy way. I feel like she does. She talks a lot about the importance of therapy in her books, and I'm just blown away with the way she's like 26 or 25, and she started writing when she was really young, and not that that's super young, but I'm just blown. People are shooting guns off outside somewhere. I can hear them going off. But anyway, I'm just blown away with her just genius of writing. I just love everything about her. She only has 2 other books that I haven't read, and they're on Kindle. And I don't love to read Kindle books, so that's why I haven't read them yet. Then I read Heartstopper Volume 3. And then I read Hook, Line, and Blinker, which was book 10 of the Miss Fortune series by Jana DeLeon. Then I read The 12 Sleighs of Christmas by Jacqueline Frost. If you saw my review of this, which was in a car vlog, I talked about how corny it was. Her name is Holly. Her cat's name is Cindy Lou Who from The Grinch. I mean, everything is Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. Okay. The second book in it is called The Night Before Christmas. The first one's called The 12 Sleighs of Christmas. I fell in love with these books, you guys. Okay, I mean, I fell in love with these books. They're so well done. They're so cozy. The mysteries are actually kind of scary. Like, she is being stalked a little bit in both books. And, oh, the other thing is they always fall in love with the police officer in town. That's the other thing, is they always fall in love with the police officer, cozy mysteries. Or at least, like, you know, it's just, I love them. I don't know. My grandma probably would have loved them back in the day because she read all the Harlequin ones. Do you guys remember I tried to start that Harlequin novel that my grandma, you guys, I can't. It's so bad. It's sitting right over there. I pick it up every once in a while and I read a page and I'm like, gag-a-maggot, this is horrible. So anyway, I read that, and then I read Catching Christmas by Terry Blackstock. You guys, this book was really, really cute, okay? And I had never heard of it before. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, I'm not putting any of these books in the description box below, so rewind it and write down the title. But this book was about this guy that was a cab driver, and he ended up having to pick up this elderly lady to take her to her doctor's appointment because her granddaughter was too busy with work. And it's really just about the three of them, their relationship, like the 2 weeks before Christmas. It was so endearing. I like ugly cried at the end of this book. It was so fantastic. I will say, there was, if you're turned off at all by any kind of religiosity in books, like I think it was written from a religious point of view, but that stuff doesn't bother me. It was just beautifully told. I was really impressed with this book as far as, like, every year I try to read a lot of Christmas books before Christmas, and I really, really like this one. Okay, then I read Noise, a graphic novel based on a true story by Kathleen Raymundo. Okay, so I got recommended this book on Amazon, or somebody sent me it, or whatever. Literally, you guys, it's like 25 pages. This was my shortest book of 2020 by a landslide. But it was okay. I mean, it was really, really for, like, 5th grade audience. And I didn't know that when I ordered it online. And at the same time, I ordered these books called Beautiful, which is, the first one will be on here. I have all 3 of them sitting over there. And I thought, oh, God, when I read this Noise book, because I had just ordered the other 3, because it was, like, recommended to me as well. And I was like, oh, these other 3 are going to be just the same. They're going to be, like, 20-page graphic novels for, like, a 4th or 5th grader, you know? But they weren't. They were, like, I don't even know if they're, like, it's about a girl that's in high school or a girl that's in college. I don't even really know. But I was really blown away by these beautiful books. I really liked them. The message is beautiful in it. Then I read, okay, I had started this, you guys. I was embarrassed to put this on my Goodreads, okay? I had started this, I don't even know how long ago, but I had said I wanted to start reading graphic novels, and I have a friend of mine, and he reads all kinds of comic books. He wants to own a comic book store. He loves comics and graphic novels. And his wife is like, oh my God, he spends any extra money he has on, like, graphic novels and comics, right? So I said, well, I really want to get into it, but, like, I'm not really into, he reads, like, the Marvel stuff and all that. I said, I'm not really into all of that superhero stuff. My husband loves that, but I'm not. So he recommended to me Clue, which was based on, like, you know, the movie and the game and all of that, which I started, like, in October, and I hated it. It just was, like, this corny version of the movie Clue. I just really didn't like it. It was different characters. I mean, same characters kind of, but they were different. So then he also recommended this book to me that was called Sex Criminals. Okay, I don't even really know how to say it on here and be family friendly, but it's about this couple that meet. They're not even really a couple. These 2 people that meet, and they realize that when they're having sex, they can stop time. So they decide to use it for good, like the Pied Piper, and that they're going to stop time and rob banks and give it to libraries that are going out of business. I don't even know how to make sense of this book, okay? I gave it 1 star. It was horrible. And I have to tell you that the last 50 pages of it, like, and it has really great reviews on Goodreads too. The last 50 pages of it were so confused I didn't even know what was happening, but I'm like, I'm finishing this book. I paid $20 for it at Barnes & Noble. I'm getting this book and I'm going to finish it. So I put it on my Goodreads list because I finished it. I was like, it's done. There, we can move on now. So anyway, that was called Sex Criminals, Volume 1, One Weird Trick. I gave it 1 star. Let me see how many stars it has by other people. I think it's like 4+ or something. 3.92, and it has 34,898 ratings. It was horrible. Okay, then the next one I read was A Wild Goose Chase Christmas, Quilts of Love by Jennifer Alley. This was another cute one. I wouldn't say it was super well written, but it was cute, and it was about this woman, and her grandmother died and left her this quilt, and there was supposedly like it was like a treasure hunt, you know, with her, and then her brother's like real greedy, and she meets this guy. It was just a kind of a romance, treasure hunt, family kind of Christmas deal. It was good. It wasn't bad. So anyway, that was the next one that I read. So then I read Twas the Night Before Christmas, which is another Christmas tree mystery by Jacqueline Frost. It's exactly a year later, and we meet Holly again on the Christmas tree farm. I love them. They're great. Then I read The Mistletoe Promise. I finished this on the 26th of December by Richard Paul Evans. Okay, and I just found out that this is a movie. I was like Googling something about it the other night when I was on my vlog, and I found out that this was a movie, and I was so excited, you guys, because I was blown away. It's about this guy, this man and woman, and they like, this man proposes to this, not marriage, but he proposes to this woman. They meet in the food court. He's an attorney, and where did she work? I don't remember. Just kind of in some office or something. They don't really say. I don't know if they say or not. I don't remember what she did. They do say. But anyway, he proposes to her that they act like they have a relationship between like November and Christmas, ending on Christmas Eve, so they don't have to spend the holiday seasons alone, and they can go to Christmas parties together, and that he's going to get her a gift every day, every weekday leading up to it. He buys her these extravagant gifts and stuff. So I thought the concept was kind of cheesy, but you guys, talk about ugly crying. Bawling my eyes out the last 5 minutes of this book. And you could read it anytime. You wouldn't have to read it just at Christmas, but anyway, I'm going to watch the movie at some point. And then Dear Martin by Nick Stone. I just was blown away by her writing in this. This is probably going to be, I don't know that I would say it was the best book that I read of 2020. Okay, okay, there, I was out of focus. I don't know if it's the best book that I read in 2020, because it wasn't the book that like I'll remember the most probably. But I have profoundly been changed by this book. And it was like 4 hours and 32 minutes on Audible. It was real short to listen to. The Audible narration was fantastic. And it's about this guy. His name is Justice, and he is a senior in high school. If you liked kind of the message and the story of The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, who actually has, I think her next book is called Cement Angel, that's coming out in January, I think. I'm really excited about it. It's the prequel to The Hate You Give. But anyway, if you like that, it kind of starts off in a similar manner. It's about this kid, and he goes to like a boarding school, private school. I think he lives there. He does live there. And he is helping his girlfriend get into a car, and he gets like arrested. He's let go and all this kind of stuff. And then, I mean, it tells us in the synopsis. So he and his friend, who comes from a very wealthy family, who is African-American, they're driving down the street, and he's gotten some bad news that day, and so his friend keeps on turning up the music, and so this off-duty police officer shoots them, and it's kind of what happens after that. And, you know, being the year that we have had in 2020, I think this is probably one of the most important books to be read out there right now. Like, especially from the point of view of a high school senior, I just was blown away. It was so well done. And when I first started it, because so many people had recommended this book to me, you know, I don't know, when I started it, I was like, I don't know, like, where this is going to go. I don't know, you know, what direction it's going to go. And to be honest with you, I didn't see the things that happen in it. I didn't see them coming at all. Like, I just was like, it's like watching a movie and all of a sudden something like really like serious happens and you're like, did that just happen? So the reason it's called Dear Martin is that Justice is writing letters to Martin Luther King, and about like, has anything changed? Kind of what's the point? And it's his evolution of his letters over the course of all of these things happening, and it's super, super powerful. It's super powerful, you guys. 5 stars all the way. If I could give it 10 stars, I would. I mean, it was just unbelievable. It was so good, so important. And then I read Bloom it's actually by 2 people, and it only says 1 on here, but you have to go into the book and see it. It's Kevin Panetta, and then the illustrator is Savannah Ganesho. So it's about this kid. I think I just talked about this not too long ago on here. It's about this kid. He graduated from high school. His friends are going to college. His dad wants him to stay and work at the bakery that they have. It's a Greek family. And he meets this guy named Hector. It's kind of like this love story that happens over time. This one's another one. I think it was nominated on the Goodreads graphic novels. I think that's how I found out about it. It was beautiful. It was beautifully illustrated. It was a long graphic novel, though. It took me like a week to read or two. I don't know, does it say on here how long? It does say. I started it on the 6th, and I finished it on the 27th. It took me a long time to read. And I would just read little bits and pieces of it here to there, but it was good. Then I read The Chimes by Charles Dickens. I gave it 2 stars. I don't even know if I know what really happened in that book. I'm so confused about this guy named Toby, and he hears the chiming of the bells. It was kind of like supposed to be like a Christmas Carol, but it wasn't. I don't know. It did not work for me. It didn't work for me at all. I really didn't enjoy it. And it was like this Audible thing that they put out. Then I read Winnie the Pooh by A. Milne. I had never read it before, so I wanted to read it. I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. I wasn't blown away by it. I'm glad I know the stories now. I knew a lot of the stories in there because of the references, pop culture references through time, but it was just okay. Then I read A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. The version that is on Audible is probably one of the best Audible books I listened to this year. It's actually acted out, and Carla Guglini, who is in The Haunting of Bly Manor, and she's also in The Haunting of Hill House, and she's in one of my favorite Christmas movies, which is Season of Miracles. She's one of the main voices in there. I had never seen... I've never read anything by Tennessee Williams. I've never seen anything by Tennessee Williams, but I do know a lot of the historical background of Tennessee Williams because I talked about this not too long ago. I had watched this documentary about Candy Darling, who is part of Andy Warhol's The Factory and all of that. And Tennessee Williams actually wrote an entire play for Candy Darling. And it talks about that bar in New York City that was really famous with Andy Warhol and Candy Darling and all that. Not Studio 54. It was called like the Kentucky Club or something like. It was like a after hours like backroom jazz club. But anyway, I have to tell you, A Streetcar Named Desire was a hard listen. It was dark, and anyway, so I wasn't blown away by it. Some of that, it very much reminded me a lot of like Faulkner writing and some of that Southern literature that is like so difficult to listen to, so painful that it's almost like, I was like, Christmas, can we listen to something, New Year's, can we listen to something fun? And I knew it wasn't going to be that going into it, and it was super short. It was like really short on Audible. I think it was like an hour and a half, or no, it was like 3+ hours, but I listened to it on like 3 times speed. Okay, then I listened to The Getaway by Greer Hendricks. And she and her, I don't know who the other person is that wrote this with her. Hold on a second. I can hardly see on this thing. Sarah Pekkanen. They wrote The Other Wife, or the Wife Between Us or whatever, which I didn't love when I read it in March. But this was like an Audible included, and it was like 2 hours. And it was about this woman that goes to this like supposed yoga retreat out in the middle of nowhere, but that's not what it turns out to be. So, I actually really, really liked this. It was kind of on the edge of your seat kind of thriller. Was it well written? No, it's horrible. It was horribly written. The characters were not developed. It was unbelievable. The story was unbelievable. It just could never happen, I don't think. But it was a edge of your seat thriller. And I think that they're very good at that. I think they're very good at writing these thrillers that you don't know what's going to happen next. It's just the depth of the characters is not interesting to me, you know? They could be anybody. And then I read the graphic novel, Girl's Trip Through the Looking Glass. Oh, I gave it 4 stars. Because I don't think it was fully realized is why I gave it 4 stars instead of 5, but I thought it was beautifully done. It was about a girl that is really down on herself about her weight and her frizzy hair, and she can never get a boyfriend, and she just is always down on herself, and it's about the inner voice in your head. But it's done in a graphic way. It reminds me of that one Disney movie, and I haven't seen the whole thing, but my husband always talks about it. I think it's the one where it's like the different emotions in your head. Do you know what I'm talking about? It reminds me of that. She talks a lot about like this voice inside your head that is, you know, telling you all of these things that are bad about yourself, that you believe it. And then there's that secret small voice inside your head, that very small voice, you know, that's telling you good things. But which one do we choose to believe? It was done in such an adult, mature way, though, that like it would be great, I think, for teenagers to read this book. But like me reading it felt very mature and very adult to me. It definitely didn't feel middle school to me at all, especially when they're talking about going to this party. And some of the references, like she reads these self-help books in the thing, and it's like, I don't know that somebody in like young high school would really understand it or get it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that it would make a lot of sense to them. So anyway, and then I read Going Somewhere Soon, which was a book of poems that my cousin or my mom gave me. They're these storyteller poems that then have like these beautiful watercolor paintings on them. And I found the book in the basement. It was short. I sat and just read it while we were watching Schitt's Creek. But I had forgotten that I had it, and my mom and I used to, and my cousin does too, collect these paintings, and you can get them at small little boutiques and things like that. I think he and his family live in like Maine or Michigan or somewhere. But anyway, I loved them. I loved the poems. I ended up giving it, I gave it 3 stars. Well, some of them were really good, but some of them were kind of, I just didn't really understand. I read one on my Peterson's channel that made absolutely no sense. So, it was about like killing a pig or something like that. I was like, ooh, most of them are really inspirational and motivational, and that one wasn't. So, but it was okay. I mean, I liked it because I like him, you know what I mean? The writer. And then the last book that I read was The Alchemist by Paolo Coelho, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not. I had read The Spy by him, and I really, really liked it. But what's funny was, I said that in a video the other day, and then I went and looked, and I'd actually given it 3 stars. And I don't know why. It was about Mata Hari. I really loved that book. That is a book that has stuck. I read it in 2017. I didn't realize it had been that long. And that is a book that really, really stuck with me. Like, I think of that book, like, often, you know, and parts of that book that I remember. And it was beautifully told. He's a fantastic writer. The Alchemist. It's a book that has been recommended to me for like, when did it come out? Because I feel like it's been like 15, 20 years that people have been recommending this book to me. Let's see. Goodreads is so slow, isn't it? 1993. Yeah, it feels like it's been like 20 years that people have been recommending this book to me. And I never read it. The audible narration is fantastic. I loved the book. It's very much like The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield, in that it's like, it's a motivational, inspirational book that is told through an adventure. And the adventure is about this guy named Santiago. He starts off and he's like young when he starts off. It doesn't really talk about him aging much, but like he would have to, they keep on referring to him as the boy, or Coelho refers to him as the boy in the book. But the thing is, by the end of the book, I mean, he would have to be 50. I mean, if he started when he was like 18 or 20, because by the end of the book, I mean, it's been years and years and years and years and years, you know? And so anyway, but, well, maybe not that long. Maybe it's 30 or 40, not 30 or 40 years. Maybe he's 30 or 40 at that point, but he'd have to be that old, I would think. Unless when he started, he was like 15 or 12 or something. I don't know. Does anybody know the point of reference of his age in the book? I'd be interested to know. But it felt like it spanned a long period of time. I loved it. I was, you know, it's really so much about, like, I feel like I've heard this so much in the book that I know it, that when you want something bad about, the whole universe conspires to make it happen for you. I mean, that's like almost an exact quote from the book. And I really believe that. It's very much The Secret. It's very much New Age thinking, you know, like The Secret by Rhonda Byrne or The Magic by Rhonda Byrne, you know, of that, like, the law of attraction. It's very much like that. And I was just really, really impressed with the book, and I loved it. So those were the 27 books that I read in December. I have already read 2 books, the Misfortune series. I can tell you what they are if you have any desire to know. Change of Fortune and Reel of Fortune. And I am now reading, I don't know what the book is I'm reading, Swamp Spook, which is the 13th book, and it's a Halloween book. And I have set my goal for Goodreads for 2021 at 102 books. 102 books. So I'm very, very excited to see if I hit my goal for this year. I'm not going to have any reading slumps. Right. And I'm not going to slow down. I'm going to continue to read. For me, it's 8.5 books a month I have to read to get to my goal, which I think I can do that. 27. I mean, and yes, some of these books were shorter, right? But anyway, very proud of myself. I had a fun time doing the challenge this year. For those of you out there, let me know if you completed your challenge in the comment section below. And I love you guys, and I'll be back in a day or two with tomorrow or next, probably Monday. I'll come back maybe with my, or maybe tomorrow, who knows, with my video of my top 10 books and my top series of 2020. So anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you then. Bye.